my name is David Balkwell and I'm going to talk to you today about how to survive an audit. How to survive an audit. The success of an audit depends on how well both parties prepare for the event, how well they interact at all stages of the audit process. Certification bodies devote time and effort to training their auditors, but surprisingly there is little available in the way of corresponding advice for management system managers. First steps. When you are first advised about the impending audit, ask the certification body for full details about the proposed auditor or auditors, who they are, whom they work for, and their qualifications and suitability for the audit. Communicate this information to your senior and middle managers for their comments. They may know something that you don't. If any potential conflicts of interest is identified, raise this immediately with the certification body. Prepare your system. Do a thorough document process review to ensure that your system addresses all of the relevant requirements of the standard. Ensure that all relevant documentation is controlled, up to date and accessible to the people who use it. Check the status of your internal audit program. Arrange internal audits of the more important procedures and processes, especially if they're falling behind. Commence any corrective and preventive action on any non-conformities that have been discovered. Arrange audits of all important management systems and technical records. Ensure that these are up to date, complete and readily accessible. If there's any management system management review pending, ensure that they have been carried out and records have been recorded. Prepare your people. Advise all of your people of the impending audit. Brief them on how it will be conducted and what will be expected of them by the auditors. Brief them on how to respond to the auditors. Assure them of your total support and encourage them to approach the audit confidently. Ensure that they are familiar with the documentation and records that relate to their activities and that they can readily access these. Ensure that you and your management standards related people, managers especially, are thoroughly familiar with the requirements of the standard. You should all aim to know the standard as well as the auditors do. Prepare for the team. Think ahead about what will be needed by the audit team. Provide the audit team with clear directions on how to get to the organisation, where to go when they arrive, and how to make contact with you. If the auditor will be arriving by car, do what you can to provide them with parking. If they are flying or arriving by train or from another city or country, offer to collect them at the airport if that's possible. Also maybe to arrange hotel or at least offer hotel or accommodation arrangements to make life easier. You may have corporate rates, or you may be able to recommend a hotel that's good or bad or close to the organisation site. Alert the audit team leader as to any special site entry requirements and be ready to provide the team any personal protective equipment needed during their visit. Set aside an office for their exclusive use for the team for the duration of the visit. Make arrangements to provide the auditors with light on-site lunch, if this is acceptable of course in the culture and permitted by the certification body. Also make arrangements to provide refreshments, tea, coffee, water during the opening meeting and the auditor's final team meeting, and possibly review meetings where there is more than one day of an audit. Also arrange for a room to be set aside for the opening and closing meetings, with sufficient seating for everyone likely to be in attendance. A day or two before the audit, tidy up the workplace areas, but not overdo it. It should look like a working organisation. During this time again, reassure your people of your full support. Respond to any concerns they have and make certain that they are ready. Spread the word. If there are deficiencies in our system, it's better for the auditors to find them rather than our customers. On the day, the key issue will be the relationship that you establish with the auditors. As far as possible, maintain working patterns just as normal. Will remove any avoidable distractions. Provide senior people as guides for members of the audit team. Ensure that the guides understand their role will be to facilitate the audit, not to dominate it. They will be observers of what the auditors are discovering, so they should take detailed notes of the auditor's findings. They should periodically report to you on the progress of the audit and immediately alert you if anything serious develops. Approach the audit as a cooperative venture, not a confrontation. Treat the auditors with respect, but not with subservience. Avoid arguments and confrontation. Do not try any tricks, such as wasting time or distracting the auditors. Discuss the findings. Maintain the relationship that you have established earlier. Remember that the audit is an opportunity to inject fresh ideas into your organisation. Be receptive to any ideas or suggestions that the auditor or auditors are offering for improvement to your system or processes. Listen not defensively to any concerns that the auditor raises. Discuss the issues calmly and objectively. Ask the auditors to provide details of the evidence on which they are basing their findings, and exercise your right to respond to their concerns. If you disagree with a finding, don't argue with the auditors. Ask them to relate the issue back to the relevant requirements of the standard. If the auditor or auditors are merely expressing vague concerns, ask them to crystallise their concerns. What exactly are you concerned about? Remember that findings of an audit should be based on the requirements of the standard, based on objective evidence, not the personal opinion of the auditor. Before the audit team leaves the organisation, ensure that there is a common understanding between yourselves and the auditors on which items will be reported as mandatory actions and those that are merely recommendations or suggestions, i.e. non-conformities or observations. Don't ever try to falsify your records in the hope of covering up deficiencies. Experienced auditors are not easily fooled, and the consequences of detection will be disastrous to the whole outcome of the audit. The best conclusion. Believe it or not, an audit can be just as stressful and mentally demanding for the auditors as it is for the auditees. Everything, therefore, that you prepare your organisation for the audit and anticipate the needs of auditors will be appreciated by them and will reflect positively on their impressions of your management skills. Some of these suggestions relate directly to the technical preparedness of your system. Others are concerned with establishing the right relationship between yourselves and the auditors. Still others are simply matters of professional courtesy and common sense. All of them, however, reflect a professional approach that should go quite some way to achieving the best possible outcome to the audit of your management system. Good luck with your audit.